That was cool. Let's touch a little bit on the work that you're doing and some of the contractual risks that you see in that's common among these subcontractors. What's pretty common that you're seeing out there?
In a contract itself, while we're negotiating, there's lots of risks, and it depends. So anything that removes control is a problem. So, for example, if you look at the termination clauses, a lot of times it will lay out all the ways that they can terminate you.
Yeah.
And it won't say anything about how you can terminate them.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And we're dealing with this right now with a client. They haven't been paid so it's escalated now, but they're at 900 grand not being paid. But the thing is, till now, they had to keep working because there was no clause to terminate the contract for default.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to be able to, if someone doesn't pay you on day one of them not paying you, you should be able to submit a letter terminating the contract according to a specific clause. You can say, or you can ask them for reasons why they haven't paid you, and then you can terminate the contract. But you need an escape hatch. You don't have that in the contract. You've lost control, and then you have to go through other means outside of the contract. Other ones that I really don't like are ones where your warranty period, your defects liability period is tied to the prime contract, to the head contract.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Not when you finish your work, but
not when you finish your work. So again, you have no control. Again, so that's, if you think about that, you've put in then whatever 5 to 10% security. You could potentially not get your security back for years through no fault of your own. The whole project got delayed. You'd finished, and you're just not getting yours back because you don't get it back. And if that guy goes bust, which is happening left, right, and center at the moment, you're never going to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that one. Liquidated damages of the same ilk, where it's tied to the head contract. That's a one. Anything tied to the head contract, anything where they say the head or the prime contracts takes precedence and they don't even show you that contract, anything like that's got to go. You want to be when you're chatting to a client, hey, I've got a contract with you.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care what you've agreed with your client.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just agree R1. Another one is in Australia, New Zealand, in some states in the US, not all states in the US. It does depend, right? But paid when paid is pretty much illegal around the world, right? Middle East, some states in the US.
Help me understand that terminology a bit better. Paid when paid.
Paid when paid. So I can't pay you, Andy, because I haven't been paid by this guy.
But I have a contract with you, not with the other guy.
Yes, exactly. And that's how However, some places in the world, that's okay. You can say that I haven't been paid, so I can't pay you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you look in the contract, sometimes while that is illegal in most places around the world, they can still play that game with approving variations in EOTs.
Right.
So they'll go, well, I delayed you, Andy, or I asked you to do this additional scope. And okay, I did it and I submitted my variation. So you submit the variation, they say, I can't approve that because I need to go up the line to get it approved. And if they don't approve it, then I'm not going to approve it.
But I already discharged the work.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Right. So now, these are little things that you need to be aware of.
You did talk about the termination clause. I just remembered I was having a chat with a very good friend, Rainey Sellers, a colleague that I work with as well. And we help small and medium-sized construction companies when they get into delay and dispute. So I act as an expert witness from a time perspective, and she does it from a contract perspective. So we go in as a team to help them out. And when I was having a chat with her, she was telling me there's an interesting clause that's actually made it into the New Zealand contracts, the recent New Zealand contracts post-COVID, a termination for convenience.
Yes, termination, but that's everywhere. That you know what that
is?
You know, that's everywhere. It's been in Australia for years. You know what's happening, and we've a lot of New Zealand clients, and a lot of them are saying, right, and I'm not insulting my Australian friends. I live in
Yeah,
Australia. I live in Australia,
yeah.
but the Australianisms is creeping in. Australian companies are coming into New Zealand and they're bringing these things with them, right?
Right.
And one of them is termination for convenience. A termination for convenience is I basically retain the right to get rid of you for any reason.
Exactly. But that's nonsense, though. I've already invested time, effort, energy, resources. I've set everything aside to discharge a contract scope of work, which we've agreed on. How can you get rid of me for any reason?
Yeah, well, the reason that, that I know, I completely agree. It's no good, but it does actually depend on the type of contractor you are.
Yeah.
Because if you are a scaffolder, for example, it is easy to terminate you for convenience and get another scaffolder in for cheaper, right?
Yeah.
That is definite risk. However, if you're a civil company and you just laid a load of foundation, right, very hard to get rid of you, right? Because you're in the ground essentially,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's not as big a risk based on your trade. It's still a risk, but so it's not as big a risk. But and also it's more about what you're going to be paid if they do terminate for convenience.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's two things. You want to get paid for all of your direct costs to make sure, and direct and indirect, that you've spent to date.
Yeah.
But then there's also the element that's always battled, which is, well, I actually manned up to do $2 million worth of work, right? So I got equipment and I got people to do $2 million.
Yeah.
And so my margin that I gave to you accounted for that. I only did 500 grand's worth of work.
Yeah.
Therefore, I didn't fulfill my margin because I didn't get $2 million worth of work. So I didn't make a margin, right? So I ended up getting, 10 times more, but not 10 times. I got 10 more people than I needed. I got this amount more equipment that I needed to do a 500 grand job because I manned up for a 200 minutes. So there's costs involved there as well. So you got to make sure that you're able to, at least there's scope there for you to at least try that one on.
Yeah, interesting. So what happens there then? Then can I claim my margin that I would have claimed on that $2 million scope of work?
You can't claim your margin. You can claim what you lost.
Okay. So what I've expended.
What you've expended because you expended for a $2 million job, not a 500K job.
Wow.
You can only get what you were supposed to be. You can't make a profit. You can only make what you've lost.
Yeah, right. That still puts me in a bad position though. I've still got to figure out what to do with my 10 resources that I've hired and
100%. No, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good. Yeah.